What's up, everybody? This is an interesting rod bend here. This one is going to be centered around travel rods. Why travel rods right now? Because there are some new ones coming to the market that we don't have our hands on right now, but it made us look at what we currently assort right now for travel rods. And when the new stuff comes in, we'll have a part 2 to this with newer rods and see if some of the features outshine what's been on the market, because that's kind of what had been pitched for a little bit. But we'll show you what the most popular stuff is we got right now. Starting off with Shimano's very popular Zodius travel rods. This one here happens to be a 6/8 medium light fast action. Came in at 3.8 ounces, which is really impressive for a 5-piece rod. That's right, there are 5 ferrules, connection points in this blank. And it does feel like a fast action rod with just the line on it. It doesn't look like a jointed rod as I bend it over. We're gonna find out when we bend it on the wall if we can see those flat spots or transitions, which is what a lot of rod snobs and purists out there can't stand about multi-piece rods, is that those connection joints, those ferrules they're called, create flat spots in the rod. Now, I happen to have some very good friends that I admire very much so as anglers. I think they're some of the best anglers around that use a lot of travel rods that laugh at our notion that multi-piece rods are inferior to single-piece rods. I kind of still feel like something's got to give with those flat spots in the blank, but who knows? I haven't fished with travel rods enough, other than one particular family that we'll get to hear soon. That has been impressive, by the way. But we're going to kick it off anyway with this Zodius before I get too sidetracked there. 6/8 medium light fast action, 5-piece spinning rod. All right, question I know we're going to get asked is, what does the rod come in? The Zodius here comes in a bag. I'll show you with all the other ones as we go through those as well. But here we go with that 6/8 medium light fast action. And yeah, it does appear to be fast. I mean, it feels fast as I bend it anyway. It's a little bit more moderate as I look at it from out here. You guys are getting a better view of this, I promise. It looks super moderate the more I load it up. And from back here, I got to give Shimano a break on this one. They're usually pretty dead on their actions. But I'm sure with a multi-piece rod, it makes it a little bit more difficult to have a refined action to the blank. I will say the tip section is softer, so it does give it that fast action feel in hand, but at least to me visually from standing back here, it's looking pretty moderate. The more I load it up, the more I look at it. Let me tighten up the drag here a little bit on there. What I am not seeing, which is what I was hoping I would see with a lot of these travel rods, is the advancements in technology. I've heard for a long time about these ferrules that aren't so stiff and rigid so that the rod blanks actually can bend through them. So there's actual action to the rod, or as you can see here, you don't get the big dramatic flat spots that you would think you'd see with a multi-piece rod. This blank has 4 joints in it. It's a 5-piece rod. It should have flat spots in it somewhere in theory, right? And it sure doesn't look like it from here. But maybe if you zoom in or pause this, if you can see any of them, I don't from here anyway. This thing does not feel like a multi-piece rod. I bet you I would forget that it's a multi-piece rod if I fished with it for the day. If you're in the market for a travel spinning rod, I'd definitely take a look at this one here. This one, our first one, the Shimano Zodius 6/8 medium light fast action. I think it's a winner. All right, up next we have a very popular one here at Omnia Fishing as a competitor to the Zodius. This is a 4-piece. Last one being a 5-piece is a 4-piece travel rod from St. Croix. This is the Triumph Travel 4-piece rod, spinning 6/6 medium fast action. Let me just say, not on the wall, this is the fastest rod of all time. This is way more than fast. This is extra, extra, extra fast. There must be some sort of solid carbon piece at the very end of this rod, or it might even be fiberglass. I don't know, because it is the most insanely bendy, soft tip I've ever felt on any spinning rod of all time. And I'm not kidding you. We were all blaming it. So we'll see on the wall here, but it's kind of super intriguing. I was not expecting this, but this thing came in at 4.8 ounces. So it's quite a bit heavier than its counterpart in the Zodius. but it does feel very well built. This does feel extremely solid. I'm impressed with it so far, and this tip is absolutely wild on this thing. So let's go bend this thing, the 6.6 medium fast St. Croix Triumph Travel. Okay, we are here now with that 6.6 Triumph Travel, 4.8 ounces, if you remember I said. This one comes in like a little bit more of a padded soft case. Not super padded, but it's a case nonetheless. Like I said, the tip on this rod is absolutely wild. I don't even know how I'm going to show it on here, but like I could basically do nothing and the tip just, it's kind of wild looking on there. If you guys can see, I'm not joking around. That's the action on this thing. It is the most extra fast of fast rods in the history of fast rods. The tip is like a whole different part of this entire rod. I know that sounds great, but it is, because it is a multi-piece rod. It's like it's a completely different material and action than the rest of the rod. So if you are looking for extreme visual sensitivity on your next fishing trip, this would be your rod. Really wild to see how fast the action really is on this thing. It does have a ton of power behind that insanely light tip. I'm telling you, the tip is in the realm of ultra light as far as power goes. I'm not kidding. And then it's got backbone. It shuts off way up front there. Does make you a little nervous with the multi-piece up there for your rod purists and stuff like that. But if you're running light line and you're not really, trying to rip it off snags in the bottom of Canada all the time or something like that, this would be an extremely fun rod to fish with and effective for certain applications. So if you're in the market for about as fast an action a rod as you possibly can get, and you want the convenience of being able to travel, check out this Triumph travel rod. This thing is pretty wild. Okay, number 3 in our travel rods that we currently assort here at Omnia Fishing. This one is the Megabass Triza, 3-piece rods, and it's a casting rod. So any of you looking for a casting rod option, this is a cool one right here. Super cool one, actually. It's certainly not inexpensive. We do have the new bait caster on here, and it does feel awesome on this thing. This rod came in at 4.6 ounces. This is a heavy mod fast 3-piece. So medium fast, I think they call it, but heavy power. Very interested to see how this one does on the wall. These have been very popular for us. We've turned them every time we've got them here at Omnia. We haven't had a ton of them. We get in, a few of each model at a time, and they go really fast. So these obviously have a really good following. They have some handwritten stuff on the blanks here, and they just look custom, and they feel custom. They look really nice. So we're gonna go bend the Megabass Triza, 4.6 ounces. This is a 7-foot heavy mod fast 3-piece. All right, as with all the other travel rods, you do get a case of this one, and this one happens to be a little flannel sock of sorts. So it's certainly not going to protect it for any rough travel or anything like that. Obviously, it'll protect the finish on the blank and it's soft. I still would chase down a tube of some sort if you do purchase one of these if you plan on traveling. But it does come with a little case there to keep all your pieces together. 3-piece, heavy, mod fast, and man, the action's correct. I would say, I'm not surprised, but it didn't feel like a heavy power rod to me. This feels more like a medium heavy power. Not blown away by that. A lot of times, at least my experience back in the day with some of the travel rods and multi-piece rods, is that you're going to lose a little bit of that power with the connection points in the rod. This one being a moderate action, I do like the fact that it's sharing a lot of the stress of the load of the rod throughout the whole blank instead of in just one section. But you certainly could get away with a ton of different applications. This is a very versatile feeling 7-foot rod. I don't know if any of you've noticed, but that's something I'm really into. I do love that so far. Obviously, it's a casting rod, which does, in my opinion, limit its versatility when you're traveling. That's where spinning rods really do shine, at least for me. When I used to travel with a travel rod quite a bit for my old job a little bit, and I did take a spinning rod with me. And it was versatile enough that I could throw some lures and things of that nature too, pond fishing and golf course hopping for peacock bass and things of that nature. You're a little bit more limited with a casting rod. to applications, different fishing applications, techniques, I should say. So, but I do like it a lot, and I like this one a lot. I would be a proud owner of this one. So Megabass Triza 3-piece. We're looking at a heavy power, and this is a mod fast. I'd rate it more along medium heavy, so I think you'd be fine if you want to throw some moving baits on this with treble hooks even. Wouldn't be worried about losing fish on this one at all. Check out this one, the Megabass Triza travel rod. All right, next up we have one that is familiar to this guy because I own a bunch of this exact family of rods. I have casting models and spinning models and a bunch of different powers and lengths and things like that. This is the Daiwa Ardito travel family. This one here is a 3-piece model in spinning. This one's a 7-foot medium fast. I'm very familiar with these because I used to actually travel with these. These are the rods I was referring to before. What these were known for, at least us back then, was that these were one of the first to really promote V-joint or flexible ferrules. So they were supposed to bend past the flat spots. The ferrule was supposed to bend with the action of the blank. So we'll see that over here on the wall. I've never bent one of these on a wall. I've just fished with them. They do have a very aggressive foregrip on them. If you're a foregrip style angler like me, these have a big foregrip on them. I liked that a lot. I've even tarpon fished with these rods, not this particular model, but I've fished all over inshore parts of the country and stuff like that with this family of rods, and they've been great. But it is a very aggressive foregrip. If you're a finger splitter back here, it isn't actually quite a comfortable handle for that as well. It's just a little goofy with that much foregrip up in front of it. But if you are a foregrip handle, and especially inshore fishing, I love to have all that leverage of the rod there, especially working deeper baits or anything like that, like jigging and things of that nature, saltwater fishing. This was a great rod for that. I even know a guy that fishes the Bassmaster Elite Series that used one of these for a while in open water in his bass boat just because the rod was perfect for a certain application. But these are really cool rods. They're not super aggressively priced, so fair price for these. Like I said, this is the only one I have a lot of familiarity with, so excited to go bend it and see how those V-joint actually look on the wall. All right, back with that Ardito rod. I don't think I mentioned the weight. It was 4.9 ounces, so this is a little bit on the heavier side than the other ones. Once again, trick to dealing with that is have a foregrip on your spinning rod. Feels fine. All right, it's definitely a lot more powerful than any of the other rods, including the casting rod I was bending. It's got a lot more power than that. And impressively, for as much power as this rod has, at least from my perspective, you guys are seeing it more dead on there, 0 flat spots in this blank. I'm not seeing any of the joints. So as advertised, the V-joint ferrules in this blank are bending with the blank as it bends, as opposed to having like a dowel in there that doesn't bend and having those flat spots in your blank. Lots of power in this one, and it certainly looks moderate when you load it up, but I'm going to tell you right now, it is fast. It's pulling back in that tip section pretty hard. This would be a great power fishing rod for somebody that wants to do some inshore and freshwater fishing. That's where I really think this series does shine to me, is if you want that ability to go fish live bait in salt or throw even some big lures in salt, but you can still obviously have a spinning rod for pond hopping and stuff like that if you're in Florida golf course hopping like I have in the past. This is a great rod for that. Doesn't feel insanely refined or anything like that, but it just feels well built and sturdy. Time out, I'm going to show you the case. All right, we're back with the case on this one. I wanted to point this one out because this one actually physically comes with a tube. I've got a bunch of these in my closet. My wife has been mad at me about it for a while. There's a bunch of these bouncing around at my house. I have at times put multiple rods in one tube too. Tip for you there. So I've taken casting and spinning with me. They do fit together nice because obviously you have smaller guides in the casting. You can put a spinning and casting rod in one of these tubes. Great feature here that it actually comes with a tube with an adjustable strap on it and extra straps on the tube as well, so you can attach it to a backpack and things of that nature. If you're in the market for a travel rod, and for what my opinion would be an inshore and freshwater guy, like if you're doing both, or gal, check out this Ardito travel rod. It's a pretty cool rod for the money. All right, last up, we had to throw a wrench in this little game here. This one's a telescopic rod. This is a new vendor of ours called Summit Tackle, and Summit here has a telescopic travel rod. So this whole thing's gonna fold down. I'll show you that at the very end after we bend it on the wall. But this is gonna be the most compact and easy travel partner of the whole bunch because of the telescopic factor. I've never fished with a telescopic rod that I could think of. I might have as a kid, but I don't remember it. So I'm very interested to bend this one and see what the action's like, because it feels pretty fast with just line on it, but they're telling us that this is a moderate action, and it being telescopic, it's very interesting. This thing only weighs 4.1 ounces. I'm gonna be honest with you, I thought being telescopic by nature it'd be heavier. It doesn't feel heavier, and the handle's actually kind of nice for me. It is like a graphite or plastic reel seat there with cork on the front and back there, but it's very ergonomic. I like it. It's kind of a minimalistic foregrip on there. Telescopic, like I said, 4.1 ounces. Interesting rod here. I can't wait to go bend this one, and then we'll fold it up and show you what it looks like. The travel rod here in the 6.6 medium light, moderate action Summit tackle rod. All right, we're back with that Summit Tackle, telescopic 4.1 ounce, medium light, moderate action travel rod here. This does come with a little case, look at that. And you can even keep your reel on there. That's pretty slick. And it is a hard case for the blank portions, for the rod portion, so kudos to them on that. I'll fold it up at the end and show you how compact this thing gets, but as we bend it, and it is way more moderate action than it looked like when I just had the line on it. Hence why the wall is so cool. I will tell you, with just a line on it, it looked like really fast. And you know why I believe that? Skip pointed out to me that this rod has a fiberglass tip section, which is, believe it or not, a selling feature to me in this type of rod, because I get a little nervous with the telescopic feature there, maybe just because it's unfamiliar to me. I know in Japan, these style of rods are much more popular than they are here in the States. The fact that the tip is fiberglass will make the tip more durable, and it does give it a little bit of action out there at the end, even though the blank itself is not designed to be fast. The tip section there being fiberglass gives it a little bit of action just out there if you're trying to work a bait or do something and clear it of grass, things of that nature. It's not bad. This rod feels a lot more powerful than a traditional medium light. I would say I agree with the power. I wouldn't be scared to fish even 6-pound test on this thing at all. It's soft enough for that, light enough power for that, but it's got enough backbone to land a significant fish, you know what I mean? So I guess, to be completely honest with you, I'm a lot more impressed with this thing on the wall than I was hanging on to it earlier. To be honest with you, the fact that it goes in that small little case like that does make it quite intriguing to me. This might be something I have to add to my personal travel arsenal as I try to downsize my luggage when I travel. This could be a good option. So it is a moderate action, like I said, 4.1 ounces and telescopic. Let's see how small this thing gets. All right, well, that ain't even small it is. It's actually this big right here. Blank comes off completely and telescopes down into this little section. And there's the handle section. So as you can see, it will fit in that little tiny case I was showing. Be honest with you, this is a little bit over my head at first when I was monkeying with it, but the more I mess with it, it feels decently well built, actually. I'm excited to go try this thing, to be honest, because this thing is small. It does fit, obviously, in a much smaller package than the other rods that we looked at. So if you're in a space crunch, Summit definitely wins this battle. You need to check out all these travel rods on the Omnia site right now. And there's some more new stuff coming down the pipeline. So if you're in the market for a travel rod, grab one now. If you can be patient, wait. We got part 2 of travel rods coming your way soon.